Hey guys, my name is Alex Barham, and this is a review of the Dagger RPM. I'm going to drop a link in the description, but for the uninitiated, the RPM came out in 92, 93, and was first used specifically as a team boat for Dagger athletes in the Worlds. EJ wound up winning in the boat, I think, with something like 6 linked cartwheels. Sounds like nothing at the time, but you linked 6 ends in an RPM. A couple of years after the boat came out, the team was clamoring for its release. The bigwigs didn't think that it could, work for the general public, but they kind of leaked it out anyway. And next thing you know, they are sitting on the most popular whitewater boat, possibly of all time, with about a dozen molds running 24/7, different places in the world. You can find these things today being made by Dagger in their re-releases with all new contour outfitting. Highly recommend. Or you can find them on the used market for a couple $100, the way they came out in the 90s with nothing but a piece of plastic under your butt. The feeling of paddling RPM is really unique compared to modern boats. You're really working almost without edges on a very narrow platform that is still somehow explosively fast. But because you don't have any real rocker to speak of compared to a modern design, you are learning to paddle and boof in a completely different way, slicing under the stern, using rocks to bounce, and really having to finesse this boat to get the same level of style just to get down the river. When it comes to getting vertical on the stern, you will find that because it isn't crushed down, the comparison I would use is a normal brap to a party brap. This is a full sterned boat. No shortcuts are being taken to sneak volume out of the stern. So you are working every time you get this stern vertical. Now the flip side is I'm comfortable standing this boat up on much more aggressive seams than I would be a very low volume sterned boat, and I'm willing to take it down more stuff because I know that if I just scooch my butt forward a little bit, there's a lot of stern behind me and I can just cruise down whatever and not worried about getting stood up and tail riding away nearly as bad as I would with something with almost nothing but a spoon in the back. Much like the video I did where I compared a 1999 slicey boat to a modern slicey boat, there are definitely things when you paddle the RPM that you just realize hadn't been invented yet. By comparison, if you look at it side by side with an Axiom, the Axiom is going to have a ton more rocker, a ton more bow rocker specifically, and it's really scooped out to stand. The biggest thing though is going to be that, like most of these modern half-slice boats, because you've boxed out to get to the chine, you have a ton of secondary stability. The RPM is going to transition very smoothly from a large primary stability into almost no secondary stability. Now, that can be quite disconcerting your first couple times out, but it really tunes you up and makes you work on the smallest details. And this has been one of the reasons that the RPM has been popular for teaching beginners and rolling. It snaps over on its roll very easily. By that token though, I was someone initially who got into whitewater and bounced right back out because of a boat very similar to the RPM, the Piedra, and I found it just miserable to learn in because there's a hairline between success and failure. So if you're a beginner checking out this video to see if the RPM is a good buy for you, I would steer you towards a completely different boat. I'll drop a link to 3 good beginner boats here, and let's move on. For advanced paddlers, this is a really fun boat. Go out, challenge your fundamentals. You can find these things for almost nothing on the used market if you don't care about outfitting, and by the same token, you can find them brand new with a warranty and full-on contour outfitting at any retailer if you want the full kahuna with a 5-year warranty. If you are going to get the cheapo version, I will put a links in the description to my whole saga of bringing this boat up to snuff with modern contour outfitting. And one of the first things I realized was that sliding it back half an inch from the original position seemed to almost be like the Dagger Team mode. The RPM just comes to life if you just scooch that seat back a little bit. In the old school boats, half an inch is all it takes, and it's a totally different ride. A full inch, and this thing gets wild. Suddenly the stern stands up much easier, splats are better, and damn does running a river get sporty. So if you want to do that, rip the seat out, grab a tape measure, mark a half inch, mark a full inch, drill, do it on the other side, throw it back together, and have a little bit of fun. Outfitting aside, what's old school about the RPM and why is it so different to paddle? Well, when you take away the chines, you really have to work on the directionality and of the boat, how the water is going to push it into places, and you have to do a lot of anticipating that with a very simple chine move on a modern boat just isn't a thing that you have to worry about. By the same token, without the same amount of rocker, it takes a lot more precision and planning, and you're going to deal with more failure than you might in other places when it comes to big drops. I was crashing a lot paddling this boat, but I was having so much fun doing it. Would I paddle an RPM over a modern half slice? I really enjoy owning one. I really enjoy paddling it, but the knee position being so straight and so low, in addition to having proven to be dangerous in the situation of a pin, is just genuinely uncomfortable. And I am a perfectly healthy dude that has no problems getting around normally. The last few weeks of paddling this boat, I have had knee pains, shin pains. I've just been hurting. And that's a pretty harsh thing to say, but I'm here to tell you guys the truth. And the quality of your outfitting will be directly proportional to the quality of time that you have. But you're going to have to make the decision if you're handy, if you're willing to spend the time to make the upgrades, or if you're going to bite the bullet and take a chance. So factor that in before you buy a cheap boat on the used market. Is it super reliable? Nah, yeah, once you get it figured out, it is definitely just something that gets better and better and better, which, you know, is something I said about the Brap, quite frankly. Is it something that I think is for everyone? This is a great boat for taking down your local runs when you think you know everything about them. This boat will make you relearn ferries, relearn just the basic fundamentals of how water moves. I love being mentally and physically challenged by changing boats around, and the RPM delivered on that. Not only that, but this one was just stupidly cool looking. That's it for the RPM. Back to modern stuff.